welcome to this video. This is the final video for Mental Health Awareness Week 2025. Thank you so much for your feedback and your comments on the previous videos. And thank you so much to the 14 people who submitted some information through to the mental health survey that I posted a few weeks ago. I'm going to be sharing that for this final video. I asked 9 questions. I'm going to go through 7 of them. 2 of them were a kind of opinion poll, which I will share at the very end. But I'm going to talk through the responses from the 7. Again, like previous videos, if you're not in a great space at the moment, maybe consider having a look at the timings and going to the questions. As we go along, there might be some more detail that you may not want to hear about. It might be too close to home, so this is your trigger warning. The first few questions are a little bit lighter, and then when we check out the questions and just go from there. So we'll be talking about community, what community means to some of you, how sewing and other creative hobbies help your mental health, some support, some suggestions of what people do to help their mental health, and pointing towards resources from podcasts to books to other things. And there's also a section on experiences of mental health, which might be the section you might want to miss. So thank you so much again for those who supported. I've got some tissues handy because I've scanned through a lot of the answers. So it was quite a punch to the heart, I guess, just reading some of them. One person has said they're happy to be identified, so when I mention their name, that is with permission. Others, I might just change a few words, just they're not as identifiable. But yeah, some really interesting responses. Hope it relates, but just to note that mental health is different for everybody. People experience different things and people respond in different ways. So bear that in mind. Some of the suggestions may not be for you, but hopefully for some of you it might be a good kind of be like, oh yeah, you might be able to relate and take something away from this video. Do let me know in the comments. So let's get started. What do you do to support your own mental health? So we've got an array of answers for what people do for their own mental health. Sewing, obviously, comes up. Gardening, baking, listening to books and podcasts. Yep. Walking outside frequently, creative outlets, keeping a flexible routine. Someone's also said not being overly ambitious with goals, not putting pressure on myself. So important. Easier said than done. Trying that. Focus on creative pursuits that get me into a flow state. That sounds nice, doesn't it? When you can achieve that. I know I have the support of my family and friends. My work is fulfilling and aligned with my personal values. So rare, but well done you. I still protect my work-life balance. Still very important. Well done you. I try not to get sucked into the news too much, especially when it's full of bad news. I know me and my husband rarely watch the news these days. Counsellor, what I knew. Self-care. Try to keep busy, exercise, lose myself in a sewing project. Try to get out. I think the video that I shared this week, talking and walking whilst out with Moss, just being able to hear the birds in the background was just so nice. So yes, getting outside if you can to a nice space, perfect. Try to meet someone at least once a day, sewing, virtual sewing room, thanks. Take medications for depression. I didn't mention that in any of my other videos, but yeah, there's been stigma around taking antidepressants. I still do. My dose has gone down, but yeah, it's certainly something to consider if you're going through a tough time. Speak to your GP. For 8 years, I've been on medication for anxiety and insomnia, which has been the biggest help. I'm glad to hear that. In addition, I keep a regular routine of sleep, meals, exercise, etc. for balance. I always recommend yoga to anyone who struggles with mental health. For me, it has been a godsend. I've tried yoga and I really liked it did really help with my mental health. Like, it's great to stretch, but lying down at the end, they didn't tell me about that. It's great. Yeah, definitely try yoga. Try and sleep, get outside, connect with people, take antidepressants, know when to retreat. So important. When you know you need me time to fill up that battery, so important that you can acknowledge that, and that can take a while to learn when your cup is full, as it were. Someone mentions doing things for you that will refill your cup. So yeah, definitely knowing that point. Try and stop overthinking by being mindful. Honestly, if you can tell me the tips to stop and slow down my mind, that'd be great. I avoid distressing TV shows and dramas that have reduced my time watching the news. There have been days when I watch the jug of the news I want and then turn off. I just can't, and I'm not unaware, but I choose not to immerse myself in the awfulness. Also, learning to say no. It's hard. Yes, definitely. I get the gist of what's going on in the world, but I can't allow myself to get too deep because it's just, yeah, keeping that balance of life. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. Family, walking and talking, taking time out of busy life schedules, learning yourself, and when you need that top up, when you need that rest from life. Being creative comes up a lot. I've got a cycling advocate as well. Love the wind on my face. Cycle towards the water, can sit and allow the moving water to take some of my worries and stress away, which definitely reminds me of some meditation that I did, thinking about the waves, breathing in, waves. It reminded me of that. So thanks for that submission. Yeah, hopefully that's relatable and you do some of those as well, but definitely some similar themes going on there. How does sewing, knitting, quilting, and other creative hobbies help you when you might be struggling with your mental health? Having to concentrate on creative hobbies stops my mind spiraling or ruminating on an issue. The flow stage recharge my brain. More severe stages can be more difficult to sew. I tried to sew when I was in shock after we learned that we would be parents in 2 weeks after years of trying. Called my mum, upset my sewing machine didn't work, hadn't threaded it. It's always been a way to validate myself and my productivity and worth during sickness and long-term sick leave. Creativity, it fills the brain with positive or neutral things. I can lose myself in planning projects and then in the making. And in such boost, when someone compliments a dress I've made, it makes me feel as if I'm good at something. Best feeling. Yeah, I love that dress. Just one thing to focus on and enjoyment it brings me when seeing a finished garment. That little dance you do when you see it finished. Creative, which is always good for me. I'm mindful I can focus on what I'm working on. It reminds me I'm competent and can look after myself. It allows me to use my brain, work things out, solve problems, find solutions. I love that I can create something that previously only existed in my head. That satisfaction thing, clever being you. It takes mind off my worries. It's like meditation. My depression and anxiety get distracted by my concentration whilst I'm sewing. Loneliness is a dreadful thing, and the virtual sewing room helps me immensely. Very glad. I like having you. Being able to express myself creatively really improves my mental state. Fibre art helps me focus. They've taught me patience. I feel grounded and in a flow state when I sew, weave, embroider, etc. The tactile quality of the practice gives me great joy, and being inspired by the sewing community makes me feel connected. That is a wonderful sentence. I like that. And again, we've got that flow state coming through. Sewing requires concentration. It's so mindful. You can block out the noise. I'm about to take up crochet, so I have something to do when on the sofa or elsewhere instead of scrolling. Brilliant top tip. Take up a handcraft. When my girls left home, I took over one of their rooms for my craft room. I feel safe and calm up there. I close the door and it's my happy place to be creative. For me, it's a form of meditation, mindfulness by focusing on one task, be that with purpose or without. Also, time away from the phone, so important. Yes. It makes me slow down the racing thoughts in my head. Sometimes it's just a distraction that I need, and other times I can make something for someone else who is having a tough time, even if I can't fix what they're struggling with. And what is better than receiving a handmade gift that you know someone's put time and love into? So, yeah, escapism, that mindfulness of slowing down, concentrating on one thing, and that satisfaction of making something, reminding you that you are a clever being, having those things, those ideas come to life. So some wonderful things of why being creative is great when you might be struggling with your mental health. This year's theme is community. What does community mean to you? And what benefits do you get from being part of a community? And I did state this does not have to relate to virtual sewing room or your creative hobbies, so anything in your life. Small community like close friends and family, larger community like being part of a church or a group like virtual sewing room, all interested in the same thing. That's bringing together ideas, share, bridge challenges, inspire each other, have fun, do what we're interested in, and be there for each other. Virtual sewing room is just what I needed when sewing felt too lonely. Community is friends and family, blood or chosen, as well as people you see on activities. Community means bringing people together like kindred and with no judgment. Community means belonging, being accepted, being with like-minded people who understand your thought process without explanation. Community means being supportive and friendly people, something I struggle to find these days. I tend to close down. I don't think we live in a community-inspired world. It's a very selfish world. In some ways, yes, but I hope you feel included and supported in this community. There are great communities out there if you can find them. Community to me is a group of like-minded people that create a feeling of warmth and inclusivity when you are in their company. It means having a group of people, no matter how small, who you can connect with, people you can rely on and who you want to be there for in whatever capacity. Acceptance, friendship, safe space. Finding those who will be your cheerleaders. Being with like-minded people who do not judge you. For me, this is my small circle of dear, loyal friends, but could also be the sewing community I connect with, work colleagues who have become friends, don't necessarily go out with them. Does relate to virtual sewing room. They live alone and work from home, so often need to force myself to go out. Last week, booked a last-minute virtual sewing room session, connected, and it was lovely. Hear the chat, participated, and then settled in without speaking much and did my sewing and listened to the chatter. So it is that non-judgment, like-minded people, feeling supported, non-judgmental. Yeah, there's kind of some similar themes from a lot of the suggestions. And being part of the community, what you get, sharing experiences, supporting others, so it's that give and take, feeling less alone, feeling valued, that like-minded conversation, positivity, no judgment, support, friendship. Friendship comes up a lot, it's great. Get company, understanding a break from the monotony of being alone, support, inclusion, inspiration, connection, support again, advice, sharing, and so many other things. You can choose who you spend your time with, feeling of belonging and being with each other. You've got people to turn to, somewhere to share a shared interest with no judgment, just support. It's grounding and not judgmental. Missed one, which one was it? I feel valued, although imposter syndrome is really hard to ignore. I learn from others, I get inspiration from them, I try to improve myself and give myself permission to feel proud of myself. We are proud of you and all you are doing. That's what being part of the community is. We are cheerleading for you, supporting you, hoping that virtual sewing at least is an inclusive space and you feel welcome with open arms from all of us. And yeah, you're connecting. So very similar themes for what you benefit personally from any community that you are part of, sewing world or otherwise. Can you share a time a community has helped and supported you through a tough time? My family has always got my back, got me through 3 years of perimenopause depression, still makes sure to check in on me just in case it comes back. When the depression creeps back in, I isolate myself. Seeing other people help me not being so isolated. A long day with work or family related issues, sewing has helped me. Virtual sewing room session where I can switch off but still be sort of part of the conversation by listening in. No, not really. I've never felt part of a community. I always feel on the sideline watching in and deal with tough times alone. You're always welcome here. Always welcome to join in as much as you want or as little as you want. No, you're very welcome. I have a community of people working with the same thing I do in other companies. I learn so much, get to mentor others, share challenges. Other dementia carers, even though there were wives of dementia patients, were supportive in dementia groups when I was caring for my dad. I found Virtual Sewing Room early this year. I wish I'd found it sooner. It gave me a creative space where I can be unapologetically me with something I love doing. I've been suffering with PND for nearly a year and a half, and finding Virtual Sewing Room gave me permission to do something for myself. It's been a saviour. I'm very grateful to have you part of it. I'm a Christian, so church is a really big part for me. When lockdown first happened, we had to isolate because my husband had a cough, and it was before any testing. Our small group from church really kept us going, being in touch and plugging gaps in the food shops, etc. I feel like we've been closer ever since. That's lovely, finding some light out of a very dark time. After the breakup of relationships a number of years ago, my community helped out by offering me spare beds, sofas, and eventually a house to rent short term. They looked after me in a practical way when I didn't have the brain capacity to do it myself. Oh my God. We're so very lucky to have such wonderful people in your lives. So we've got a couple of longer ones that I've saved. So my small work community who were silently there when my marriage fell apart and I was a mess. My boss silently just removed part of my workload knowing I was finding it difficult to cope even though I still managed to show up every day. What a great boss. Mates checking in a lot, asking me how I was and just being there. Kids coming to visit, I know they were checking in on me but never once let on there was anything other than them wanting to come and stay. Literal lifesavers, all of them. What great kids. There are friends who have never once complained about my endless tears and emotional wailing. They just let me cry and listened, endlessly to the same stuff. What fantastic friends. That is what great friends are. And so this is an extra long one. And this is, Kerry was very happy for me to name check her. I've suffered with depression very badly in the last 3 years since having to leave my home and my husband in Sri Lanka against our will due to civil unrest and fears for our safety. 2022, I had a nervous breakdown after leaving Sri Lanka. I did not want to go on with my life. I left my home, my husband, my friends, and a job I was working as a nursing sister that I loved. In May, my son went to Portugal, and although I made some wonderful friends, we were extremely unhappy. I saw an advert for a sewing group and joined as I'd always fancied learning to sew. I met a wonderful lady who ran the group. She taught me how to sew and the sessions became the highlight of my week. Each evening after 5 p.m. when my husband was sleeping due to the time difference, I would sit and sew. Sewing in the evenings replaced crying in the evenings. I made some wonderful friends in Portugal through sewing, and when I moved back to the UK in 2023, I was absolutely blown away by the Instagram sewing community. After being away from the UK for 7 years, I found my old friends had moved on in my absence. I still love their company, but between work and kid commitments, I was very lonely as everybody seemed to be too busy. I've not been able to work due since my mental health challenges. The physical sewing groups I've joined, the Instagram community and the virtual sewing room community have filled a void. I'm still struggling daily with my mental health, but having something to focus on like sewing meetup or virtual sewing room session really helps me get through the day. Thank you, Kerry, so much for sharing. I hope today is a good day for you, but just knowing that when you're in a tough situation, there's always some light, and hopefully wherever you are in the world, there can be some light for you, and the sewing community online can be a beacon for connecting to people. So thank you for sharing. So there's a lot of support there when going through life stuff as well, that there's always someone you can connect to. You might not have the same story, but always there to lift up, help you carry on. What advice would you give to others who may be struggling with their mental health? This can be general advice, mantras, message of support, etc. So we've got a long list. Do whatever you need to help yourself. Experience and suggestions of others can be useful, but nobody is in your individual situation. Everyone is different, so all the advice take with a pinch of salt, because you may not enjoy some of these things, but others might be a game changer. I love mindful exercises and body scanning to soothe the brain and stop the brain spinning. Yoga is good. Walks are great, especially if you don't take headphones and just listen. It's hard to reach out for help when you feel like you don't deserve it. So if someone reaches out to you, accept that help. Also, recovery takes time. Don't go expecting big, immediate changes. Changes will sneak up on you gradually. I relate hard to that. Asking for help is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. That phone call to Sharon, and then realizing that the solutions laid out for me were simple, but taking those steps, that's the hardest thing. It's like when they say going running, going to the gym, doing something new, getting there and taking that physical step into the gym or wherever, that's the hardest part. And telling my manager I wasn't okay was so hard, but the relief the other side, yeah. So things may not change immediately. You'll notice it, and it takes a lot of give and take, whatever situation you're in. Don't keep this to yourself, whatever you're going through. Share your feelings with a friend or medical professional, so someone you can trust. Also, just on that point, knowing the right friend to talk to. I definitely had friends that I knew I could go to, and others that I didn't think would maybe as open-minded or be able to give that comfort. So knowing the right friend, the one that you know will give you the love and support you no matter what you say. Accept new ideas. Take risks. For me, spending time with horses has been life-changing. Go to counselling. There is no shame in it. There is none. Sometimes other people know what you need better than you do. 100%. You only live once, make the most of it. Slow down, trust your gut, and listen and look after your mind. Talk and share. What a nice, just talk and share. Find a focus, walk, run, hobby, etc. Something that you enjoy that takes you away from it all. Fresh air is brilliant. Just breathing in nature helps me so much. So if you can, research some local walks to you that involve green. Yeah, just green space, or if you're a beach person, some yellow or colour down there. Yeah, find that open outdoor space if you can. Use every resource you can. Keep an emergency list of friends that you can rely on in a crisis. The friends you think you can rely on may let you down, and this will hurt. Pick your friends carefully that you want to trust your emotions with. People who are not in your inner circle may become your emergency friends in a crisis. Have the number of the Samaritan already on your phone. Talk to your doctor. Don't be afraid of taking medication. Talk to your doctor. See what options they suggest and which medications might be best for you. Get out in fresh air at least once a day, even if it's only to walk the dog, go to the shop, walk slowly, take the opportunity to talk to someone if it arises. Lots of advice there. Talk to someone, anyone, doesn't matter who. If you can't talk, write down your feelings. Yes, I've done that. I do that. Sometimes just seeing the words written down or getting them off your chest can be the start of getting better. Breathe slowly, deeply, calmly. My favourite mantra is, "This too shall pass." writing down for me, that's something I like to do, especially when there's so much going on. Writing it down helps me. I always think of my brain's just like lots of balls of wool, lots of different colours, and there's loads of strands of thoughts. It's a bit like all the patterns I've got going on at the moment. I want to do this and that, and they just get into a tangled mess. So writing down helps me just clear some of those tangled messes out, and what is the root of the issue that I'm going through. What is causing the most stress. Talk about it to someone who has similar experience or better a qualified professional like a counsellor. I was always skeptical about how helpful this would be, but with the right person it can be life-changing. Talk to someone, even if it's a stranger. Sometimes that's easier, but don't suffer alone. Recovering from a stress-related heart attack, I found by water, in nature, listening to the birds and the world go by, often listening to medications and distressing noises to rid the worries, and just to be. I still listen to sleep meditations before going to sleep. It's a great help to slow my mind into a restful sleep. So there are lots of themes amongst that. So talking, being a big one, professional or a good friend. Definitely when I lost Dad, I messaged my manager. By that point, I was much more open by that point. And then I sent the same message to 6 or 7 friends who suddenly were, I realised, my core, who I trusted. And I just went, uh-oh, Dad's died. I hope you're okay. Like, I'm the one going through something, but I had to check in that everyone else was okay. So in that situation, I suddenly realised who were the nearest and dearest and who I trusted. And it was interesting, those who weren't in that inner circle. There were some work colleagues who are still great friends now, and they sent some of the best messages in support and checking in. So yes, you might be surprised where you get that help and support from. Yeah, hopefully something there might help you or you relate to. Are there any resources you recommend for others? This can be activities, TV, books, podcasts, or whatever. It can be related to mental health or not, e.g. favourite TV show or support. We've got a wonderful array of answers, and I've added in a couple of my own. So meditation, mindful exercises, so scanning the body to soothe the brain and stop your brain spinning. Yoga, I've done that, and yeah, sometimes when I used to join yoga, it was so good just to calm myself and just, yeah. So those who have said yoga, great suggestion. There are loads of mental health wellbeing activities out there by brilliant mental health charities. Search out the charities that operate in your area or country to see what support they can provide. And if your own mental health is okay, pay it forward by donating your money or time. Mental health isn't one of the sexy charity topics, but they need our help just as much as children or animals do. Oh, great little submission there. Yeah, I support Mind, and they do a box subscription thing for the first year where they send you a little pack of creativity things. So that was £10 a month, and you get that through your door. And then the second year, you get less, but you get some other information and some bits through. So that is one charity of many great charities. So definitely, if you can afford to, pay it forward and support them. Walk into the sun. Exercise is good for mental health, and walk outside usually helps. Feel free to listen to a podcast or audiobook if you feel the negative thoughts coming into your head. Yes, especially at the moment, May, it's been a very sunny month, so if you can take that 5-minute walk around the block, chance just to, do you know what I love? Just putting my face in the sun, just my feet in the grass, just that first time you take your shoes off and just enjoy the nice grass between the toes. Yes. I think we all need to find our own. I love podcasts. You can pick a mood dependent one, sportive, funny, hobby related, and it helps zone out. Definitely finding the right tone, and that goes for TV shows, finding the right one for the mood. And on the theme of podcasts, Strangers on a Bench is a great podcast to help you switch off and listen to other people's lives. Someone mentioned this in a session a few weeks ago, and I finally got around to listening to a few episodes, and they're right. It's really great. Yeah, it is what it says on the tin. Someone sits on a bench and approaches someone and says, "Hey, can we have a chat?" And it's wonderful. Yeah, the first four are so different. There's an older chap, the younger lady who's come from another country. She's been through so much. The first one is someone who's just come out of prison. Spoiler. Yeah, a really, really humbling podcast. Where do we get to? Samaritans, emergency crisis friends list, who you can rely on and come and sit with me for an hour. In a crisis, you cannot think straight. So there you go, having those straight to hand, so it's easy for you in those difficult times to be able to find that help and support. Another shout out for yoga, because it's quite accessible. There's loads of free online classes. Yoga with Adrienne became very popular during lockdowns. Check them out over on YouTube. But I'd always recommend an in-person class. Music can be a huge help to release pent-up emotions. And if all else fails, stabbing something, not someone, over and over with a needle and thread is good too. Happy stuff. Avoid watching anything with doom, gloom, or murder. Watch Friends or similar easy comfort fodder. Nest. Do jigsaws. I don't have any references of books because that didn't work for me, and that's fine. You work what's good for you. In desperate hours, call the Samaritan if you think you're teetering and can't carry on. Another TV show recommendation, Ted Lasso got me through the hard time at work recently, processing what I wanted from work. I love loads of podcasts and books to keep me company while sewing. Mamma Mia in Australia, I don't know if I've pronounced that right, do some great ones aimed at making the world a better place for women and girls while still being able to be silly too. I'll link that in. Honestly, mental health support groups and counselling. Medication too, there is no shame in it. A doctor once told me depression is a misfiring of chemical pathways in your brain. Medication reconnects those pathways. That changed my opinion on it all massively. When I opened up about mental health, so my friend, who was one of the one that made me realise I need to ask for help, we have open discussions about what antidepressants are you on, how's it going, and all that. And at first, depending which one you get, the first couple of weeks it hit me pretty hard. You have to go into a low ebb to come back out of it. That's what I went through with it, but it was a game changer in getting me into the right place. I can't remember when I started taking them. Maybe 22, 21. Yeah, and he's my friend. He's married to a doctor. She's been on antidepressants before. We have quite an open conversation about it, so that's really reassuring. So if you wanted to talk about antidepressants, feel free to drop me a message. If you don't have anyone to talk to, I'm very happy to talk about my experiences. Moving on, I have a Samsung phone, and on the fitness app there are loads. No expensive subscriptions, and you can keep ones favorited and go straight to those. Fitness apps, there you go. And there's loads of things like meditations, the body check ones. That's worth checking out if you've never tried them. There'll be loads on YouTube and other free channels just to go through the body scans. They've done it in yoga before for me, and they're really nice just to yoga nidra, I think it's called. I did that with the yoga club that I did, and they called it sleepy yoga, and it's really great. So if you need something to really slow you down, really mindful, see if you can find a class. I use the Frog Project, who were lovely. It's based in North UK, but they have teachers from across the world. It's an online yoga class. It was fantastic. So I think I did that for about a year, and then I realised I got out of sync. but their classes were excellent. So they once a month they do yoga nidra, and yeah, it was really great. I did other ones as well, not just sleep yoga. And my final point, I've made a note because I forgot to mention it before. Dopamine dressing. So I this morning put on a dress that I usually find comfortable, easy to wear. I just wasn't getting any joy because I knew I was doing this video. It's quite heavy topic to talk about, and I knew I just needed something a bit more uplifting than the black and white dress I was wearing. So I've put on my Lotta. It's this fabric that I got from Guthrie and Garni. It's light enough because it's quite warm outside. It's floaty. It's kind of mid-calf length, and the colours just give me joy. It's purples, it's oranges, it's blue. It needs ironing. I don't care. Life's too short. I'm just bringing the dopamine, and I often say on a Monday morning, I always found that struggle to get going. Now I'm in a bit of a gym routine, attempting to go on Monday mornings before we have a session as well. But Mondays I'll try and dress in comfortable, bright clothes that give me joy. So if you can do that, that you wear something that gives you joy, it doesn't have to be colourful, just something that really gives you joy and is comfortable for you that day. Yeah, do it. I changed. I thought it was silly. I'm a grown up. I should be able to pick my clothes. I've done it. It's got pockets. I'm in a much better mood now. I'm wearing this. Like simple things. It really is sometimes the simple things. And as everyone's kind of mentioned in their suggestions, don't be afraid to reach out. It was so hard, like I've mentioned. And if you can reach out and ask about other people's experiences, there are people out there. You're going to see lots of helplines that are UK based, but do find the ones that work for you in your area, region, country. And I hope you're okay today. I think at the start of this, I was quite anxious going through these very personal, honest, open comments. But it's really wonderful that you've shared it, actually. It's heartwarming. I hope you found something useful amongst all of this. There's some really lovely submissions there, and try something new. If something's not working for you, try something else. Try yoga, Strangers on a Bench podcast. Change what you're wearing to something that's colourful and gives you joy. And yeah, take a break. Thank you for being with us through Mental Health Awareness Week. Do feel free to go look at any of the other videos at any time. And if you need to chat, just drop me a hello. Take care. You're not alone. See you soon.